What's happening, guys? Matthew Martinez back again. If you're seeing this for the very first time, please do not forget to comment, like, subscribe, all that good spiel, and let's get into it. So guys, this is the very first video about social media. I'm sure it'll probably come up at some point, but this ultimately is about why social media made me feel unhappy, and what made me maybe change my perspective on social media. Now, when I'm talking about social media, I'm talking about Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, you could say, Twitter as well. So the things for me, guys, is that when I've grown up in the 80s, so the way it is for me is that I've grown up prior to all these things actually being officially existing in the public sphere, public sphere, if that makes sense. So I've grown up at a time when it was literally just broadband connection, or at a time when people would come home from school maybe and they would use MSN Messenger to speak to people. We didn't have Facebook in the same way it is now. We didn't have necessarily Instagram and everything else going on. YouTube was coming around, I think, after MySpace, but it did take some time to develop, and from my understanding of what YouTube was initially, it was actually even supposed to be a dating website. It was never actually supposed to be what it is now. Things develop, things move on, that's fair enough. Anyway, I digress. Ultimately, guys, one thing I think with social media is, like, ultimately at the point now, it is literally people are becoming depressed, people are feeling more isolated, people are feeling more alone, people are feeling like, you know, you have to definitely keep up with the Joneses. You're looking at other people's information and making it be a reflection on yourself, which doesn't really make sense. Now, it's funny to me that in this time and age now, when you speak to some people and you say, are you on Facebook, and they say no, and you say you're on Instagram and they say no, it seems that's even strange for the person not to be on these things anymore. I think for me, guys, when I realized that this was becoming a problem, or what is a real concern for me, is that when you are waking up and you're the first thing you're looking at is Facebook or Instagram to work out what's going on with other people, what's that about? What does it even mean? What's the point in that? And I think, guys, it's just like, you can follow these celebrities, you can follow people who are your age, and you think to yourself, wow, look at these guys are millionaires, they're doing what they're doing, I'm doing what I'm doing, and it can actually make you feel unhappy. Bear in mind, again, you're not in their circumstances, you're not started at the same place in life that they started off. You don't know what obviously their life will actually turn out to be, so it's not necessarily all as straightforward as, you know, seeing somebody else's circumstances and think, why am I not having that? But one of the things I want to say to some of you guys as well is just be mindful of the way social media works now. It's purposely geared to make you feel like you're not enough, to make you feel like there's something less. And I think the algorithms push and promote purposely the need for, again, number one, the consumerism, but also the need to make you think, again, I'm not good enough, I need to go and spend. I'm not good enough, therefore I need to go and do X or Y, or I need to have X or Y to make me feel a particular way. You know, watching the Kardashians and everything else like that, what does that really help you do? You know, you're watching somebody like, you know, Kylie Jenner, and she's talking about something that relates to someone in her world, in her circumstances, which is a very minute group of people on the planet. Most people aren't living in, obviously, that level of luxury. Most people don't have that level of lifestyle. You know, people are becoming unhappy because they're trying to hold themselves to account for levels that, I'm not saying necessarily unattainable, but levels that just wouldn't be relevant to them. You know, they say, funny enough, that a lot of people who don't necessarily live in the West are a lot happier with less than people live in the West who are overconsumed, oversubscribed, have too much information. They're bombarded, or even we, you know, we're bombarded with information constantly from the minute we wake up to the minute we go to bed. It's non-stop. A lot of us are even looking at our phones literally before we go to bed. I mean, how many people literally just like read a book and then that's enough now? There will be some, but a lot of people don't. And again, social media being the key thing, the key driver that makes us feel, you know, we're more connected, but at the same time, most people feel a little bit more isolated. Most people feel depressed. I got to a point, as I say, that I just felt like with social media and my Instagram accounts, I had something like, I don't know, so many thousand people on it, and I just said to myself, but I only speak to maybe 20 people on here, so what is the point? And that's what makes me think about, again, following in celebrities. And again, guys, it is not, these guys are giving you the best pictures in the best circumstances, whether it be male, female, you know, they've got the flashy car in that moment. It may not even be that car. You don't know what they've gone to try and get that car. You don't know what they've been through to try and get that car. You don't know who they screwed over to get that car. So try not to, you know, you need to get to a point, again, and I want to say you, maybe it's a reflection for myself, but the key thing I want to say about this social media game is take it with a pinch of salt. Don't put your hopes and dreams on somebody telling you if you do this you will get to Y, or you'll do this and it'll definitely be X or Y, because ultimately, guys, in my opinion, there is elements of luck to people's lives. There are circumstances to people's lives that you know you're just not going to come across. So I think it's ultimately a question of what you can do in your situation. Know where you are on the board of life and know where you are, but don't fall into the trap of looking at other people's circumstances and try to equate yourself to that. I think that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make with social media. And equally, again, there are a lot of people who will look at your stuff and they're only being nosy. They're looking at your stuff because maybe they don't like you or there's some issue that they've got and they don't really want you to succeed, and they're just keeping an eye on you just to see what's going on. So again, guys, you got to be very cautious of the way this society is going. Try not to go too much on a rant, but I just think that social media is probably making people feel more drifting apart, more apart than ever before. You know, it used to be something important if someone wrote a letter to you. Now obviously we're sending emails, everything's fast, everything's super instantaneous, but at the same time, how fulfilled do we feel? So again, guys, just my thoughts on my rant on this one, guys. Leave your comments down below, let me know your thoughts, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.